in every state, in every city, require that we have a moral movement. A movement that says the cries of our brothers and sisters, like the cry for justice and caring for the vulnerable and embracing the stranger and healing the sick, protecting workers, welcoming and being fair to all members of the human community, loving and honoring teachers, educating our children, should never be relegated to the margins of our social consciousness. Because these are not just policy issues. These are not just left versus right debates. These are not just conservative versus liberal discussion. These are the centerpieces of our deepest traditions of faith, our values, our sense of morality, and the very soul of our democracy.
When we all get together, what a day of rejoicing that will be when we all see justice. We will sing and shout the victory.
We are here with citizens, community members, teachers, union members, you name it. We're here today to stand up and say it's time. It's time for equity in our city. It's time for affordable housing, for good nutrition for all, for strong schools, for adequate health care, good employment, sustainable employment. All those things lift our children up, lift our youth up so that they can do well in school and in life.
Social justice is very important to me, and so is education. I'm a teacher, and I believe they go hand in hand. Students have to come to school ready. They need housing. Their parents need jobs. They need good health care in order to be good students to learn. And we need equity for everybody, so all children should have the same opportunities.
And so we must always raise the call for equity, but we must know what equity looks like and what equality looks like. Because everybody that uses the word doesn't mean the same thing. There are those who believe that tax cuts to the wealthy that don't need it is equity. There are those that will say, even in this city, years ago we put all the money in the urban community, so now we need to put more money in the suburban community, when the reality is we have never fully funded public education in any community. That's the reality.
People are hurting, and we as teachers deal with them every day, and we need to help our students and help our families and help our communities. We need to bond together as a community of people that believe that everyone has the right to have a good life.
And I see kids who have MA, and they have working poor parents who work minimum wage jobs, which now if you work full-time at a minimum wage job, you earn about $15,000 a year in this country, in this state, and that you can't support a family on that. And I see children with cavities who come to me crying, and I can't find dental care for them that's accessible for their parents who are working poor, who take transportation to places that aren't as accessible as they should be. And we work really hard as school nurses to keep kids in school and learning and keep them healthy, and we work hard for a better world for them.
So what does equity and equality look like? Well, when we say it, it means we don't give up on communities and people who lag behind. Across this country, we need a movement like this that says here is equity, pro-labor, anti-poverty policies that create economic sustainability, fighting for full employment, living wages, alleviation of disparate unemployment, a green economy that helps all people, labor rights, affordable housing, targeted empowerment zones, community development banks in poor communities, strong safety nets, fair policies for the immigrant, infrastructure development, and fair tax reform. That's what equity looks like. Educational equality by assuring every child receives a high quality, well-funded, constitutional, diverse public education, and teachers are honored. That's what equity looks like. Health care for all by assuring access to the Affordable Care Act, Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, and ensuring environmental protection for poor communities. That's what equity looks like. You want to see things like what's happening in Jefferson not happen again? Then here's what equity looks like. Fairness in the criminal justice system. Addressing the inequalities in the system. Providing equal protection under the law for black, brown, and poor white people. That's what equity looks like. You want to know what equity looks like? Protecting and expanding voting rights and women's rights and LGBTQ rights and immigrants' rights, and remembering that equal protection under the law is not an idea, it is the foundation and cornerstone of American democracy. And when we reject hate and fear, that's equity. When we address racism and classism and don't try to separate them, that's equity. When we see the poor as our neighbor and remember we are our brothers and sisters' keeper, and we put the poor at the center of our agenda and not the margins of our agenda, that's equity. When the moral calling of our state and our nation and our cities is not to look down and disdain the poor, but to work with the poor and to raise strong safety nets that lift up the poor. That's what equity looks like.
Oh, man.
Oh, I
love the
Yes.
Reverend.
Yes.
Very empowering. Very exciting.
It's what we do every day.
Yep.
And he just affirmed that for
Yep.
us.
Summarized
And
it.
gave us some tools to work with that I'm going to take back to school and use, working with students, working with parents, working with colleagues.
Everybody needs the same things to grow and learn and be successful. So that's why I got involved. And I think Reverend Barber's message is just that we work together and we build a great, strong coalition based on peace and justice and moral values, the things that we should do that are right for our society and our children.
All children need to count. Therefore, it'll make our society stronger, I believe. I mean, I believe that. That's why I'm a school nurse.
This is a beginning, not an end. We have lots more work to do, bringing all of us together, but I have faith we're going to do it.
I would too, and the thing that we want to focus on again, it is moving the moral compass. It's not about the right, the left, or where we are in a political party, but it's doing what's morally correct. And that's what we're here to do today, to start that movement in Minnesota.